G'day and welcome to episode 47 of Kingdom Business TV. We're going to be talking about some quick cash strategies on this episode. And why do we talk about money all the time? We don't. You'd have to go back and look at some of the other episodes to realize that we also talk about all things spiritual. But today we're talking about cash strategies. Now, just apologies on behalf of my voice. I don't sound amazing, but I sound a lot better than I did yesterday and the day before. So, I picked up a little throat lurgy, and now we're back in action, and there ain't no stopping me now. Okay. All right, so appreciate you guys dropping in. I'm going to be drawing on the iPad in just a moment. Just to kind of set this up, we always should be focused on getting more cash in the door. You know, that's not something reserved for when things are going wrong. I think one of the mistakes a lot of people make is that they're a bit complacent when it comes to short-term money. And so what happens is, like, if you're not focused on short-term revenue and short-term goals and short-term cash, if you let that go for a period of time, then at some point when you need to fix it, you've got to go super intense to fix it, right? So, I'm going to give you some, 5 ways for you to kind of get money in the door right away. Maybe all 5 aren't relevant to you right now, but some of them will be. But here's the lesson in this. Like, if you're always focused on short-term money and short-term goals and short-term invoicing, you probably won't have the problem where you hit a crisis situation and kind of need to go all in heavy. Okay, so you need to always be focused on bringing in the short-term cash. Okay, as an organization, we obviously have where we're going to go for 1 year. We have a 90-day plan on how we're going to go, and then every single week we're focused in, what's invoicing, what are we going to get in, what are our expectations. We're going for that short-term money all the time, because if you go for short-term money all the time, you have enough money and you can grow and scale the business. Okay, so that's the name of the game here. All right. 5 quick ways for cash. Number 1, and before I get into it, what's the name of the game here? I answer your questions, right? It's a call-in show, or you can put a question in the comments below, and I will give you my 2 cents. So while I'm teaching you this stuff, just take a minute to think about what you would like some help on. It could be around. It could be around sales, it could be around marketing, it could be around team, HR, team culture, finances, kids, marriage, the Bible, Proverbs 3:9, whatever you want to talk about, all right? You put your questions in the comments box below, or put your phone number in, one of my team will call you, patch you through to me, and I'll answer your question. All right, number 1, if you want to get money in real quick, is call your debtors. The people that owe you money, okay? Intrigues me with debtors about a lot of business people who they neglect the little amounts of money in their business. For whatever reason, doesn't seem enough to change things or, whatever. But if you actually just jump on and keep debtors tight, then you'll have more cash flow running through your business. I was talking to one of our clients just today on a coaching call. And he said, I've done all the work and they owe me $5,000. It's like, really? How much money did you take a deposit? None. Really? So, it's like, go back to the old system. Collect 50% of the money up front or more. Do the work, and before you release it, get the remainder of the money. If you have a tight system like that, anybody that's an absolute tire kicker and never intends to pay you, doesn't even jump aboard, saves you a whole bunch of headache, okay? So, you got to have these strategies in place to eliminate the debtors, or at least minimize the amount of debtors that you have. But if you've got debtors right now, by the way, people say, I don't really have debtors, I've only got a couple $100. Take a couple $100, all right? Take the couple $100, put it into marketing, go and get a better client and kick the old bad one out that's paying late, right? You've just got to make sure all of these dollars are washing through your business. So how do you do that? Literally jump on the phone. If you don't have a debtors system, then I'm going to give it to you. It's 3 steps. The first phone call is simply, it's an oops phone call. Hey, Mary, the invoice is still outstanding. Invoice 217 for $400. When can I expect to get that paid? we understand sometimes these things get overlooked. So you're making a little bit of light out of it because you don't want to go in boots and all having never chased your money. So you just do a, hey, this must have been overlooked. When can I expect it to be paid? When Mary says we'll pay it on Tuesday, you say, great, Mary, I'll check the account on Wednesday. And if it's not in there, I'm going to give you a call back. And that lets Mary know that you will actually follow the system. So then that's what happens, right? Call number one is simply that. And most people will pay after one follow-up call. If you check Wednesday and the money's not in your account, don't give them more time because you're just retraining them that you don't care. You said you'd call Wednesday. If it's not in there Wednesday, call them and say, Mary, and by the way, this phone call is what we call curt. We are short, and we basically just say, Mary, you said this. You told me you were going to pay this much money on Tuesday. I'll check the account Wednesday. It's not there. It still remains outstanding. When can I expect that to be paid? No fanfare, no light, straight to the thing. After you say the question, when can I expect that to be paid, the next person that talks loses. So you want to just be silent, put up with the awkward silence, and let them talk about when they're going to pay it. If they say, I'm going to pay Tuesday, you say, great, or next Tuesday or a month, you say, great, I'm going to check the account the next day, and if it's not in there, I'm going to call you. The third phone call is what we call the 24-hour phone call, which is like, you've promised me twice, Mary, that you're going to pay this, and you haven't. You've got 24 hours. Otherwise, all future communication is going to come from Dun and Bradstreet or whatever data company you use, okay? Or you could say, if I don't get money in 24 hours, then the next correspondence will be from our in-house legal team. However you would word that, all right? Gives them 24 hours to play nicely. So do we not have a thread? Is that what's happening here? No. Do we need to reboot? By the way, I want you to type something in the comments box for me, right? Here's the question. Do you have debtors right now? Yes or no? I want you to put it in the comments box. I want to see some words coming through just to check the system. Do you have debtors? It's a yes or no. It could be a Y or an N. Just so you can leverage your time. Okay, something. So he wrote something. So that's very good. He wrote something. It looks like it's all okay. Just a very quiet bunch of people up there today. Yeah. You fellas are freaking me out, but everything looks okay. Okay, good. I have to check with the accounts manager. Michael. All right, so all right. Now, number two, right? That's the first way you're going to get money in. Number two is to call all your outstanding quotes. All right. So if you've quoted a job in the last, I don't know, ever, then call them and just say, hey, we quoted a job for you last week, last month, last year. We'd love to go ahead and do that for you. When can we book you in? And you'll be amazed at the amount of people that they didn't go ahead. It's not that they didn't go ahead with you. Life got in the way and they didn't go ahead. And given an opportunity for somebody to make it easy for them, they just say yes. In fact, this morning, one of our clients posted inside our private Facebook group, our weekly accountability group, it's like, I have started to call up all our lost leads after a week or two. And it's funny, she put a number in there. I think she's done like $3,000 in sales or $2,500 in sales just by doing some random follow-up calls to people that she quoted that never went ahead. And on an average price of $275, there's 10 or 11 customers who have turned around and said yes. And it's funny, when I think about it from my perspective, like when people make it easy for me, I just buy. So if I get a quote on something and I don't go ahead, it's not because I didn't like them, it's just because I'm busy. But if they ring me and say I'll be there Tuesday, I'm like, yeah, done, right? That's how you sell to busy people. You just do it for them. So you've got to call those quotes, right? And it's not pushy to follow up. If they've requested a quote and you've taken the time to make a quote, you've earned the right to jump on the phone and chase up the quote, okay? So don't worry too much about it. Don't overthink it, whatever, yada, 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 yada. All right? So that's the name of the game here. All right, strategy number 3. I can see some nice information coming through. So keep your questions coming throughout and then I will answer them. Here's another one that you could do, right? Just do a straight out email to your database. Now, if you've only got one person's email address, Start doing emails. Obviously, the more emails you've got, the better it's going to be. But you could literally just do an email out right now that says, hey, I've got space to take on a client on Tuesday, first in, best dressed. You could do an email out that says, hey, I've got these, whatever, some products, and I'm, do you want to buy them? Or you could literally just do an email out that says, hey, I've got some spare capacity, spare time, spare team, whatever it is for you, and I want to fill it. So who would like to take me up on this offer? You can literally put an offer out and drive sales from a database. It could be that people normally buy this, and so you email out about this one, right? Like just don't overthink it. And if right now it ends up being mission critical that you get money in the door, who cares about whether you hurt one or two people's feelings on your list? Business Greenhouse, I've emailed 3 times in 3 weeks to our list, and I probably haven't emailed the list since, December, right? And that's because, at the end of the day, I look at a list and think, well, so what if I have some unsubscribes? We've got 8,500 Christian business people on a database. So what if I get some unsubscribes? What if I can give value to 7,000 people? And I kind of feel that's the same way. If you need to get money in the door, don't worry about hitting the list too often and you're getting 1 or 2 unsubscribes. Worry about the 7 customers who end up going, yep, I've been meaning to say yes and I want to buy from you right now. Get that money in the door, okay? If it's your biggest priority, then everything else has to fall underneath it anyway. Strategy number 4 for getting in quick is call past clients. Now, this is different to calling quotes, okay? Quotes is obviously, whatever, people that didn't go ahead with you. You could call all your past customers that did go ahead with you and make them an offer and say, and obviously, the more critical it is that you get money in, the sweeter deal you're going to have to make. You call them up and you say, hey, listen, you bought from us back in February 2016. We've got some capacity to fill. Would you like us to come and do some work for you right now? No, yes. No, yes. Those 2 yeses. Let's go make some money, all right? So just call all your past clients. And by the way, it doesn't have to be salesy. Hey, Bob, it's Wez here. I'm just checking in with you. You bought that thing off us a little while ago. How's it all going? Is it okay? Is it good? Yep. Hey, I've got some spare capacity, spare time, spare product. I'd like to sell it to you if you've got a need. Is there any need there? However you would word that. People say, yes, no, maybe, done. Don't worry about it. If you need money, get on the phone. If you need money, do emails. If you need money, take collectors. Come on. There's all the lame excuses in the world. Don't get the money in the door, okay? You've got to get the money in the door. That's what keeps this whole thing afloat. That's why weak people that have a go at us business people for being money driven, they've got no idea what they're talking about with their fixed wage and their boring life. You try living on the roller coaster of entrepreneurship. You need the money in the door, otherwise it gets far too stressful. I wonder how many people hop off. If that number goes down, they were employees. I'm just saying. All right? Oh, went up 1. Yes. All right, happy days. 7, oh man, we're climbing now because I'm telling the truth, see? All right, number 5, fire sale, old stock. And by stock, I literally mean stock. But if it's not stock, you could fire sale hours. So if you're a trade-based business or a product-based business, doesn't really matter how you do this, you could fire sale hours. Let's say you got stock's easy, right? Do you know the amount of people that have stock and they're hanging to get the right price for it? I couldn't care less. I just want to turn it back into liquid cash so I can buy some more stock and do more marketing and get more sales. Don't be enamored by the stock you bought that because you love it and the market told you they don't, you're hanging out. Just sell it. Just turn it into cash. If you spent 20 bucks on an item hoping to sell it for 50, but somebody will pay you 10 right now, take 10. The money's worth nothing in the back cupboard, right? If you need cash in the door, find a way to do that. If you're a service-based business, if you're currently paying team members 30 bucks an hour to work for you and you charge them out at 100, start charging them out for 60. At least you're making margin on the 30 and you get money in the door. You can't do it forever and you'll go broke if you do it forever. But as a short-term cash grab, it is just a good idea because at least you're not paying the 30 bucks an hour to the staff member out of last week's sales. You're paying it out of this week's sales and you're making a margin which funds them for the week after. Got to start thinking like an entrepreneur here, people. All right? That's how you think. Obviously, we don't want to live in this state all the time, but when it happens, and it does happen from time to time, you've got to go all in, boots and all, get the cash in the door. If you don't, you're drawing down on credit cards, and if you don't do that, you're firing your staff who are your best asset, yada, 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 all right? It's never, never, ever a good thing. All right. Well, considering I had no energy for a while, things have perked up a little bit. My voice hasn't perked up, but I have. All right, if you've got a question, put it in the comments box because I'm going to read those now. We have a call. Okay. We have a caller.
Hello, this is Stephen.
Stephen, it's Wez Hone. You're on Kingdom Business TV.
Good afternoon, Wes.
How are you?
I'm behaving myself.
Well, that's a first. All right, what can I help you with?
Yeah. I've got a question. I'm considering moving our marketing side of things off to a third party.
Yep.
So, for example, looking at either the AdWords or the Facebook, haven't decided which one yet. But their minimum, the people I'm considering going to, their minimum spend is about double or triple what I spend at the moment, for example, on Google AdWords.
Okay.
So obviously there's a risk involved in that for me when I look at the current cash flow, etc. Because it's a big jump.
Give me some numbers,
what
Stephen.
kind
What would you spend on ad spend on your own when you didn't have a third party?
I spend at the moment about $500-600
Okay.
a month.
And these guys
And
want
I'm
you to
talking
spend.
It's about $2,000 to $2,500.
Is that including their management fee, or is that just ad spend?
Yeah, that's including management fee.
How much of that 2 to 2.5 is management fee?
I actually don't know because I've been given these figures by a friend of both of ours as to what the numbers are. So I'm looking, before I start digging, I'm looking at basically, I don't want to start wasting my time making calls without doing my research first as to whether it's worth me doing it or not.
The $600 that you're spending right now yourself, are you able to track whether that is producing leads that turn into customers, and is that $600 profitable?
Yes, I can. We're an e-commerce company, so obviously we track conversion rates and stuff like that.
So what would you say? What would you say that $600 brings in for you on a month on average?
$600 brings in. Give me 2 seconds, and I will actually look it up. Where's he gone? Sorry, I had all the figures in front of me, so just give me 2 seconds.
No worries. No more though.
Yeah, no, I know. Time's of the essence, isn't it? I think from memory, it brings in. Here we go. It brings in. I can give you a percentage figure. It brings in about 30% of our income online.
Okay.
Which amounts to probably, in the last month, that will probably be about $2,000 to $3,000 profit.
Okay. Profit. Okay. So 600 grand on AdWords brings you 2K profit.
So $600 AdWords.
600 AdWords brings you in about a 2K profit minimum.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that's good. I wanted to check those numbers work, but you'd never scale AdWords until you can get it to work. Like if you're spending 600 and it doesn't work, you'd never scale it. Okay, so we've ticked that box. The other thing is, what are they going to do that you don't know? Like, do you feel like is there a whole bunch of stuff you're not doing that you want to do? Like, what's the reason for going to a third party?
Partly is management time, time to manage it. Obviously, we've been very, very quickly growing as a business over the last couple of months. We're still projecting upwards, which is really good, but it just means now that my time is even more of the essence. So I'm not getting to spend the time on AdWords that I used to. So to do the tweaking and things like that, rewriting of the ads, searching out new keywords that people are going to be using, etc. I'm not getting that same time I used to get.
Okay.
That's the reason why I'm looking at
So that's fine.
passing it
That's
on
fine.
to somebody else.
I guess I just want to. I'm just trying to explore a case so that we can get some specific advice. Here's the way I look at this. Right. I mean, obviously you could go all in 2.5 grand, and hopefully your third party provider do a better job than you do. Right. That would be great. But part of me thinks, well, hang on a minute. In Stephen's week, there's probably 2 or 3 hours in there where Stephen's doing $20 an hour tasks, right? Like really low end stuff in his business. So I'm like, why don't we just pay someone $20 an hour for 3 hours a week, right? And then you then have now got 2 to 3 hours a week of time to do a better job with AdWords. You know, we're talking here about adding $250 a month, not 1,900. And then you can do it. Like, I mean, I'm all for giving it to a third party, but I kind of think to myself, well, if you can spend 600 and make 2.5 grand, why don't you see if you can spend 900 and get, 33% more sales? There are two different ways to go. One of them is to scale in sections and spend, well, I'm spending 600, can I spend 900 and get 50% more, or can I spend 1,200 and get double the sales? If you're not going to have the time, if you're definitely not going to have the time to do any kind of research, then palm it off to a third party. If there's another way for you to get the time to do the research, like give work to somebody else, then I would recommend you do it yourself. And the reason why I say that is because no one, it's super scary for me, the amount of third party providers who can pull the wool over the eyes of their customers, especially in the social/digital space. And the way you get around that is not to never use them, it's to know enough that they can't pull the wool over your eyes. So by getting in there and growing it yourself, you're going to learn so much that then maybe you palm it to somebody else. And then when they send you flashy PowerPoints telling you everything's okay, you'll be able to call BS on it because you'll know it enough, right? So that's just one way to go because it concerns me a little bit. If you already feel like you know enough to be able to hold them to account, jump in now with them. You'd have to see a really big jump in sales. You'd have to see a 5x jump in sales to justify even breaking even on the spend. So I guess I'd be having that chat with them and saying, what are your expectations?
Yeah. And how are you going to do it? Because obviously I know enough information and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
But if you don't go down that avenue, you could probably achieve 50% growth on your AdWords return just by having the discipline of finding 2 hours a week to work on AdWords.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Awesome. Bless you, buddy.
I think that's answered my question.
Cheers, Stephen.
Appreciate it. Cheers, mate. Bye.
So I'm all for third-party providers, but just not naively is what I see far too much of, okay? Got to be able to hold them to account, and to be able to do that, you've got to know what's going on. All right.
Mia's got a question in there for you.
So Vanessa Smart said, yes, but he kind of scares me, so I'm not keen to do those phone calls. Well, if you can't, then you must, Vanessa. If it scares you, you must do it, and do it now. Literally, jump off the cast now and go and do those calls. You'll feel amazing after you've done them. All right, I'm just going to work through. So Lee Wright says, I've got a $500 debtor. They're ignoring my calls and emails. I was thinking about Small Claims Court, but can't find their address. Is there anything I can do? Yes. You can send it to a debt collector. This is a little bit dependent, Lee, on whether your terms and conditions were clear up front. If your terms and conditions were clear and they signed them and they agreed to them, then of course you've got a case with a debt collector. If you don't have any kind of documented terms, it makes it very tough for a debt collector to do anything. So I'd be going to a debt collector first and going through the process. Obviously, debt collection fees go on top of the bill. That should have been in your terms. If it's not in your terms, everybody go and add that back in your terms, because you can on-charge all the debt collection fees plus admin fees and late fees and all that if you want to. And then, of course, The only way you're going to find their address if you don't have it is to get a private investigator online to go find them. And then, you know, maybe between the cost of the private investigator and the cost of small claims, I don't know whether you're going to get a return on your 500. You know, I would try calling from like turn the number off my phone so that it comes up private number. Maybe don't do that. Maybe grab somebody else's phone and make a phone call. You know, turn up at their address, or you don't have it, so that's not going to work. I'm a big fan of small claims court, actually. I'm certainly a big fan of threatening it, because most people, when they're threatened with going to court, will fess up for their money. So, but if your terms are tight, you could go to a debt collection company like EC Credit Control or Prushka or any of those guys, and they'll collect it for a fee. All right, Mia says, always recruiting topic. Is it best to try and put yourself out of a job? In essence, we are recruiting for an office admin. Me too, Mia. Luckily, you're 200 Ks away from me. Otherwise, we'll be arm wrestling for a good candidate. We are recruiting for an office admin, so I do the accounts. Once we get an office admin, is it best to try and then get someone to do accounts and put me out of a job? Not sure how to keep recruiting in the office when it's a one-man job and me doing accounts. Yeah, I mean, the whole goal of business is to put yourself out of a job, because every single box on the org chart that you can get out of means that you get to play closer to the top. And when you play ultimately at the top, you're the CEO. And that's really where you want to be. So yes, the role is to put yourself out of a job. Now, if you said to me, but I don't know what I would do with my spare time, so I'm going to spend it drinking lattes down the beach, I'd say that's a terrible idea. But if you can get out of the admin and out of the accounts jobs so that you could full-time go into marketing and blow up the awareness, it's a good investment. You're paying a low-end person to do a low-end task to free you up to do a high-end task. It's always the name of the game. It's not easy, but it is the name of the game to get ourselves out of that. And I know you may want to do accounts forever, but you don't want to be doing accounts forever, okay? It's just a bad use of your time. If you're worried about a bookkeeper having access, just get them to schedule all the payments, and then you walk in and press go, because they're only using a read-only file, and you can't be taken advantage of. Who from? Marty. Righto. Patch old Marty through.
Speaking.
Marty, it's Wez Hone. You're on Kingdom Business TV.
Okay, Wes, we met a couple of weeks ago out at Runcorn.
Very good.
CPAP got.
Hope you're well.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, so my question is just about, I've been doing, all my advertising's been on Facebook. Spent about 50...
You spent about 50?
On Facebook.
$50,000, $50?
50,000. Yeah.
50,000. All right. Yeah, I think I can hear me in the background. Are you able to turn that down?
Yeah, I've just done it now.
Thanks. So you spent 50K on Facebook ads?
Yep.
Yeah. So what was the result?
Well, about 480 in sales.
Well, that's not too bad. 480K? Depends what your margin is, but that's...
Yeah, it's about 30%.
Okay. So you tripled your dough? Yep.
Yeah, well, yeah, here and there. But I'm just wondering, because I mean, obviously want to try and get more ads out there for less money. I did register for LinkedIn, but I'm not really sure the differences between LinkedIn and Facebook.
LinkedIn, their ad platform is probably 5 times the price of Facebook. So they are very expensive. And the same ad creative that worked on Facebook won't automatically work on LinkedIn. You've got to think about the headspace of somebody on LinkedIn. They're in a business mode. How do I grow my business? Yeah. So you usually have to change the creative and change the messaging to work on LinkedIn than you do on Facebook. Right. But the ad platform is really expensive because it's also insanely well targeted. So it's expensive, but for a reason. It's really good. But what I would say to you is LinkedIn's organic reach is really high. So you should just be putting your stuff on LinkedIn regardless of an ad spend, because the organic reach is Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you should take any reach that you can get. So if you can put stuff on a platform that gets you 100 eyeballs, that's just a good idea. But I'm finding, I hated LinkedIn for a long time, like 5 to 7 years, wrote it off, panned it from stage, would say it's a disaster. 18 months ago, it piqued my interest. 12 months ago, it got me interested. And 6 months ago, I was on there and playing around. And I've just run a whole bunch of campaigns to see what works. But irrespective of ads, like, you know, I'm seeing interactions on my posts every day. And for me, the way I looked at it was, as Facebook was restricting my reach every single day, I was able to get the pickup in reach on LinkedIn for no money. So I think it's just a good idea that you would be on both. But you've just got to think through your products and services and making sure that you're writing them or doing video creative in such a way that it's to a business owner and not a mum or pa.
Sure. Yeah, because my product's basically aimed at the affordable market, but we're bringing in a travel machine in a couple of weeks, and that could be more
like a time travel machine?
Yeah. Sorry?
Like a time travel machine?
Yeah, I wish.
Because I'll be your first customer if I can have one of those.
yeah, I'd go back.
If you saw how much grief I got about my post on Facebook the other day about buying an aeroplane, I'd love a time travel machine. That'd mess with some religious spirits right there.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Could have given them money.
Any
commissions.
other platforms that you could advise for advertising?
Yes. Now, tell me a bit about your audience. Who are they?
Basically, it's people that have needed a product for sleeping for about. They'll come back to me because they've been $3,000 to get one, and now I can provide an affordable option. So,
what age group are we talking about here?
Oh, I've got a 6-year-old right through to a 80-year-old.
Okay. It's still the parents that would make a decision for a 6-year-old, though, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you should be on TikTok.
Yeah.
Anyway, so TikTok would be a fun one for you. Put out funny content around sleeping machines. But in all seriousness, where would I go? I would, in terms of a platform, Facebook's going to be your best place. There's no doubt about it. Yep. I would be interested for you to throw an Instagram swipe up ad towards people who are whatever the base age of a customer, an adult customer would be.
Yeah.
So, you know, if that's 40 or whatever, then you know, whatever. But basically, an Instagram swipe up ad is less. It's got to be no more than 15 seconds. It's got to be very well produced. It's got to be loud and in your face in the first 3 to 4 seconds to get people's attention. And then they swipe up on their screen and you send them to a URL. What I love about it is there's nothing else to get distracted on that page. They are literally looking at you and nothing but you for the whole 15 seconds.
Yep.
And that's, by the way, that's the cheapest CPM in the market right now. It's something like $3 to $4 per 1,000 impressions. Something like that.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's real good.
Yeah, whereas Facebook for me would be something like $23 to $25 per 1,000 at the moment.
Yep, sweet. Awesome.
Bless you, Marty. Appreciate you ringing in.
Appreciate your time. Thank you. See ya.
Well, there we go. Some good value in that, I thought. So if you're the kind of person that needs to get quick cash in the door, you need to pick the one of those 5 and get started, and then the second one, and the third one, and the fourth one, and the fifth one, whatever you need. There's no excuse. You're an entrepreneur, which means you've got to balance all of it. You've got to have a good team culture and a good team, but you've got to get the money in the door, right? Praying about it, that's one strategy. Pray about it and then get on the phone, do these things. Praying about it on its own, bad idea, all right? You've got to do the work. You've got to get the money in the door. It takes instant pressure off you, right? When money is the constraint and you get it in, it takes pressure. You can think clearly, you get more clarity, you can make smarter decisions, all right? This is how sometimes we're on the roller coaster as entrepreneurs, and when we hit these points, we just got to take the action. Don't let it stop you. Don't get upset by it. Just do the action and take the task, do the task, and then you will win. By the way, guys, you're on the Facebook page now, some of you. Is anybody on from YouTube? No. By the way, if you ever watch YouTube, thank you and subscribe. But if you're on Facebook, I put out a video last night of basically, it's me talking, but it's at night and you can't see me, right? Apart from there's one little shiny head spot that comes up halfway through the video. And it's an amazing video, and it was this moment of clarity for me where I'm championing you on. So when this live finishes, do me a favor, go back and watch that video. It's dark, it's filmed at night. The visuals are terrible, the content is great. Do me a favor, would you? Go and share that video out to your friends, because I want to inspire more people. I'll be back on Thursday at 3 o'clock. Love ya.